morning, everybody. Good morning, Mississippi. Good morning, Mississippi company and exporters and export experts. Welcome to our webinar today. We're delighted you could all spend some time with us to talk about Mississippi online global programs, websites, localization, online media. What does that all mean? We hope to bring you some solutions, some discussion points, some action points. So while the last of you are logging on, I'm just going to quickly do a quick round of introductions, say who we all are. So my name is Susanna Hardy. I'm Chief Content. Oh, my picture doesn't even go up there. Chief Content Officer at IBT Online. My picture's supposed to be there on the left. Obviously, I'm not on this thing. I'm joined today by my colleague Adrian Villar, who is the Online Business Development Director for IBT Online. So I'm really pleased that he could join us today to talk a bit about the online environment as a whole and is a main contact point for you all in Mississippi for Mississippi companies based down in the South as he is. And then we are so delighted to have the Mississippi Development Authority represented by Chris Engels, Luigi Dominighini, and Carol Abud. They're going to be talking a little bit about how the MDA, the Mississippi Development Authority, gives a helping hand to Mississippi companies, what they have in terms of their toolbox for you for that. So I'm going to leave that for them to explain later. Just a quick word also to say who we are as a company. That's IBT Online. So that's Adrian and myself today. IBT Online, we're a US company. We're really, really proud to have just been awarded the President's E Award, E for Export Assistance Award. We're a private company, and we are 100% focused on online tools for mid-cap companies that want to go international. So what we do is we do websites and online marketing for companies who look to go global, and we provide full services for that. E-commerce, design, online marketing, websites, all of that. And we work with a couple of US states on something called the Online Global Programs. And we are extremely proud to be rolling this out now for Mississippi and Mississippi exporters. So today's webinar is 100% dedicated to Mississippi companies to talk about online global for Mississippi exporters. When we've divided the presentation up into 6 big categories. And I'll start off with getting the Mississippi Development, the MDA, to talk a little bit about their services and how they can help you and the context that they have there. And then we're going to go dive right into sort of why we think exporters need online tools in today's environment. Then how they help, basically the 3 big cores. That's website localization, e-commerce, and international online marketing. That's a lot for one webinar. So, you know, you will get a recording of this webinar in about 2 days' time. We'd invite you to, you know, listen to it again if you want, share it with friends, get back to us. We are having a Q&A, a live Q&A at the end of this webinar. So please do drop your questions in the chat box as we go along, and we'll get back to them as we go along. There'll be a couple of little polls here and there as well, just to ask you, questions about how you want to go forward on this. And finally, at the very, very end, when we end, we're going to have a very brief survey. I promise the survey takes, I don't know, 30 seconds. So please do also participate in that. And with that, I'm going to hand over to the Mississippi Development Authority and these great folks that they're there to help you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. Hello, my name is Luigi Dominighini. I am the Senior International Trade Manager of the Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Latin America at the International Trade and Investment Division for the Mississippi Development Authority. We are very proud to launch the Mississippi Online Global Programs. We believe these programs will be beneficial to many Mississippi companies seeking to grow their exports and sales in international markets. We have partnered with IBT Online to co-host this webinar. Also, and importantly, MDA is offering financial assistance through a STEP program for the Mississippi Online Global Programs. I would like to introduce to Mr. Chris Engels, Director of Trade and Investment. Thank you.
Well, hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. It's good to be here, and thank you, Luigi, for setting all this up. As Luigi might have mentioned, I'm new to the program and wanted to say hello. I've only been here with MDA for a couple of months now. I know a lot of you out there have been working with Carol and Luigi for years. It's great to be a part of this team now. They've educated me pretty quickly, and I know that they have a lot going on, and they're doing a lot to try and expand wherever they can the reach of Mississippi companies abroad. I also know that it's been incredibly challenging for our partners during the COVID crisis. And I know that that has meant a lot of the work needed to be moved online, where we would normally have been doing in-person trade shows. We were doing virtual trade missions, where we would have been making deals and traveling the globe. We've had to find new solutions. And it's great that not only us, but also through our STEP program, we've been able to adapt to support a lot of those online solutions that have become necessary because of the current crisis. Of course, we don't support any one product over another one, but we think it's important to allow you to hear from those people who are providing those types of solutions, I think, that are taking advantage of the situations we have now, despite the COVID crisis. And that's why it's great to bring you all together to hear this presentation. But I also thought it's a good idea to catch you up on some of the work that we're doing internally right now. And that's why we have Carol here, who's going to give you a few minutes of an overview on what's going on in MDA with trade right now before we move into the main presentation. So again, welcome, and it's great to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you to everyone for tuning in today, and a special thanks to IBT as well for co-hosting this webinar. My name is Carol Aboud. I'm the International Trade Manager for Europe and North Africa. Quickly, I'll just give a brief overview of our office and what services we offer. The International Trade and Investment Office provides support to foreign companies considering relocation or expansion in Mississippi, as well as Mississippi companies seeking to export their products to foreign markets. MDA's trade managers provide business assistance, including educational, marketing, and referral services to small and medium-sized companies looking to export their products and services outside the U.S. Some of the services our office provides are international market research, which includes B2B matchmaking with any potential buyers, MDA-led trade and business development missions, individual trade missions, as well as protocol and diplomacy. So all of those things are covered within our division here at MDA. A quick note of mention as well, with COVID-19 impacting the way we do business here, all of our missions have gone virtual. As Chris kind of touched on earlier, we have pivoted to a virtual B2B matchmaking format, which has been pretty successful for our companies here. Mississippi companies currently export to 174 countries, which shocks a lot of people. It's always shocking when they hear that number. Our 2020 exports totaled over $10.2 billion. Rounding out our top 10 trading partners are Brazil, Guatemala, and Japan. And of course, we have Canada and Mexico as the top of that list because of USMCA. And next, I'd like to give a little information on the State Trade Expansion Program, which is a grant funded by the Small Business Administration and administered through MDA. I'm sure a lot of our companies are familiar with this grant, as most of them have worked with us on this already. So the STEP grant offers small businesses financial assistance which helps defray costs associated with exporting. STEP can reimburse eligible Mississippi businesses for costs associated with the services that I mentioned earlier. Some of those costs include general and specific market research, B2B matchmaking meetings with qualified buyers, translation and interpretation services for those meetings, trade show booth space, travel costs associated with trade and business development missions, as well as shipping samples and compliance testing. I know every time people hear what exactly STEP grant covers. They're kind of surprised by the detail that actually does cover. So I would like to mention some of those things. And in response to COVID-19, this Small Business Administration has actually increased the marketing caps to help small businesses increase their international footprint. Some of those services or website development, website development include website localization, translation into a foreign language, search engine optimization, and e-commerce platform fees like hosting or maintenance fees. The cap has also increased for services like design for social media channels and digital ad placements and translation of marketing media for video or audio. So those are just a few changes that have kind of happened since COVID's, invaded all of our lives, but hopefully we're on the tail end of things. So, but thanks again to everyone for listening in today. And if you would like to discuss how we can help your business grow through international trade and investment, please contact us at internationalbusiness@mississippi.org or head to our website, mississippi.org, and you can get a lot more information there. But thank you again.
Thank you all so much. Adrian, just before you kick off, I thought we just launch a quick poll just to ask folks, on this, just a quick question for Mississippi companies. Just how are you feeling about things? How are you feeling about physical travel? When do you expect next to go to an international trade show? Soon? Are you preparing in the next 3 months? Or are you really cautious and thinking about way past 2021? Thank you all for being so enthusiastic about answering this. Thank you. A lot of you are answering very quickly. I can tell you that there is a strong, I'd say, third of you that is optimistically saying within 3 months, yes, we are traveling to a trade show within 3 months. But there's another, I'd say the majority of you are saying not before 9 months time, so not before the end of this year. Great, thank you very, very much for that. I'm going to close this poll and I'm going to pass it back to my colleague, Adrian. Thank you very much.
Excellent, and thank you very much, Susanna. And also thank you to Chris and his team, Luigi, Carol. Thank you so much to the Mississippi Development Authority for the time in explaining some of the opportunities that are available online for Mississippi exporters. And before we move forward to a conversation about why Mississippi exporters need virtual tools to help them succeed, just wanted to make a 2-second pause here to introduce myself. My name is Adrian Viller. I'm head of business development for IBT Online for the online global programs. And I'm here to be a resource and a helping hand for all Mississippi exporters. You'll see my contact information at the end of this presentation. Feel free to get in contact if there's anything that I can assist you with. Now, on to the why. Why do Mississippi exporters need virtual tools? The why is really self-explanatory, especially in the light of the last year. But when we speak to our clients over and over again, regardless whether they're in Mississippi, in Florida, or everywhere in the United States, we hear these 4 priorities that you see on your screen, especially in the light of the challenges presented by COVID-19. Right? Companies are looking at keeping after their employees, managing costs and cash flow, maintaining their relationships with suppliers and existing partners. But more importantly, they're looking to grow their sales, grow their exports, and keep growing their business in spite of all of the challenges and circumstances. And this webinar is going to focus on this last priority on the list, generating sales, exports, and business, because that is what online tools do. They help you grow your top line revenue. And in terms of the world being online, this almost goes without saying, but the world has become an online environment pretty much overnight in 2020. And that trend will continue into 2021. These are figures just from January 2021, when we got the last snapshot here. 4.6 billion people are on the internet today. That's 60% of the world population. And these people, all of us, all these 4.6 million people who are online, we're spending a lot of time on here. We're spending over 7 hours a day, probably watching YouTube while we should be working. But what the takeaway is here is that even in a business environment, your customers, your prospects, your leads, your future distributors, future employees, future suppliers, everyone your business interacts with is online, and they're spending a lot of time on here. Over 360 million people joined the internet last year in 2020. The reasons why, I guess you can surmise what they are. And over almost 490 million people joined some platform of social media in the year 2020. This is great news for small and mid-cap companies and means that you can punch above your weight. And there is a clear, effective, and cost-efficient strategy to get global. In terms of communicating, we talked about those 4.6 billion people who are online. 4.2 billion of those are on a social media platform. 99% of them are consuming that information via a mobile device. And on average, they're spending about 2.5 hours on social media. Now, what's really interesting to us from a business development perspective is that 43% of internet users are using social media for work purposes. Think LinkedIn and other business-oriented social media platforms. Social selling is becoming a big topic, and people are engaging with prospects, clients, future employees, suppliers, etc., on social media platforms. And the good news for companies and exporters is that, well, you know exactly where your clients and your prospects are and what they're doing. They're looking at cat videos on YouTube. So you can use that information to your advantage. Now, why exactly do Mississippi exporters need localized websites, which is what IBT does, is, well, the world is online. And we know that more so in 2020 and 2021, and it's a trend that is growing. This is the new normal. And even if we get back to international travel, which fingers crossed we will in the very near future, the reality is that for the most part, some of the shift to online and the migration to the online world is here to stay because it's more efficient and it's lower cost, and a lot of businesses will continue doing business in this way. Your clients, your prospects, future employees, suppliers, they're online, they're looking for you there, and preparing for this environment will help you get found, get understood, and be easy to do business with in this online world. Now, in terms of the tools that you need to accomplish these goals, fortunately, the great news is that you really just need two things. You really need a website, and you need some online marketing. And these can be as simple or as complex as you want to make them. Websites can be B2B, B2C, B2G, with or without e-commerce. You can make them as simple or as complicated as you want, as long as they're business development oriented and they help you achieve your online business development goals. And then there's a social media strategy, which again, or the online marketing strategy, apologies, which can be equally as simple or complex, from just basic organic search engine optimization to help you get found online, or advanced online advertising. You can decide what's right for your business. But these are the two tools that you absolutely need to have in your toolbox when going online and globally. Now, we get asked a lot, how does website localization work? What is website localization? Well, let's visualize it. This is a nice representation of what that actually looks like. And consider this. You have a US.com domestic website, and you have a digital strategy around that. You have a strategy, a search engine optimization strategy, and a social media strategy to drive traffic to your website, engage with them, and convert those people who are coming into some sort of revenue, right? Well, what we talk about in terms of localization is that we are going to take that digital real estate to the global market. So we take your website of reference and we create localized website experiences, let's just say in two key markets, France and Brazil, for your business. And for each one of those websites, not only is the content going to be unique and different and localized for the consumer in that specific market, but it's also going to have its own unique search engine optimization and social media strategy, because they might be very different in markets that you're interested in. So, in all that said, one thing that's truly important that we hear about a lot is brand consistency. And certainly the localized websites are going to have the same look and feel as your US websites, but they're going to be specifically geared towards consumers in those markets with clear call to actions in terms of business development so that you can achieve your revenue generation goals. And then the second portion of that, in terms of the real estate, you set up your real estate first, the websites, and then you create your digital strategy to, again, drive traffic, drive engagement, drive conversions to those. And IBT is happy to be a helping hand in those endeavors. And that brings me to the online global programs and what they are about. So the online global programs, you'll see here on your screen some of the benefits that they have. But in short and in summary, the goal is to help you create a sales funnel. These are strategies, both the localized websites and the online marketing, as we just discussed. They're designed for business development. They're designed to drive top line revenue. So if you're looking to increase your revenue online and globally, the online global programs, the Mississippi online global programs are specifically designed to help companies, whether you're B2C, B2B, B2G, to achieve those goals. And with that, I think my colleague Susanna is going to dive a little bit deeper into website localization.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Yeah, let's. So you've got these great resources. You've got Mississippi, reaching out and being very proactive and saying, online, we need to help our Mississippi companies. I'm sorry, I have a very loud dog. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. One of the questions I want to ask is, or we get asked, why can't I just use my US website to go global? Why is this? Why can't I, I invested in this Mississippi website. Why can't I use my Mississippi website to actually go global and reach out? And the reason is because of the way the internet is actually structured. It's structured via search engines. YouTube is a search engine, Google's a search engine, all these search engines organize the internet, and they are all localized. In other words, they are specific to that market, and they are searcher-centric, in other words, customer-centric. They take the searcher's point of view. So if you are in Germany and you're searching, you're going to be searching in German on google.de. You're going to use different keywords. And Google knows that and it sees that. And your Mississippi website might not be classified as relevant for that German prospect that you want to try and reach. I'll give you a couple examples. Keywords. Keywords are important. Keywords are important for you to be found. Let's say you're using the wrong keyword in the wrong market. Well, Google's not going to recognize you in that case. And even if you're using the same language, sometimes it doesn't work very well. Let's say you've got you're in the car industry, and you're a Mississippi company in the car industry, and you translate your website and put Spanish on the website, to attract Mexican prospects. Well, if you're looking at Mexican prospects, then you really need to use the word auto for your car, for your keyword, as opposed to coche, which you would use in Spain. So there's a very big difference there in terms of the choice of your keyword. Same search engine, same language, Google and Spanish, different keyword for the different markets. I'm gonna give you a more prosaic example, given the noise that my dog just made. So I'm working from home today. I happen to live in the UK, and my dog does make a lot of noise during a webinar. I do apologize. So I go on to google.co.uk, which is in the UK, and I look for squeakless dog toys to give to my dog when she barks. And I get barksbunnies.co.uk, I get amazon.co.uk. Now, Adrian, sitting in Miami, he's looking at google.com, and he goes in English, so same Google, google.com, squeakless dog toys, same words, and he gets chewy.com, he gets amazon.com, freedompoolharness.com, different websites, same search engine, same language, different results, because Google ranks it according to where I am and my path, and its algorithm is searcher-centric. So that's what localizing a website is. And I think it's important to realize localization is not translation. If I list here on this slide, there are 10 criteria that define a localized website. Translating it is 1 out of 10 criteria. getting the right domain names, adapting design, hosting, making sure you've got the right content management system, the regulatory requirements, all that goes into localizing a website. A good little trick that's kind of fun is you know that your website is well localized if you can see if the people, if you're aiming your website for a particular market, are the people for that market come to your website. So this is a screenshot of a company's website. They're targeting Australia. It's an English language website. They're a US company and they want Australia. And you know, if you look, 3,100 out of 3,700 visitors to that website are from Australia. And if you include Australia and New Zealand, 99% of the visitors to that website are from those areas. So that means that Google thinks that that website is extremely relevant for Australia and New Zealand. So that's a good way of also knowing if your website is targeting the right target market as well. So we talked a little bit about these localized websites and the online global program. I want to give you a couple of examples of what that means. So this is an example of a US company who did the online global program. They've done it for a couple of different markets. And one of the points for them was that they had in-market distributors who were not always perhaps fully aware of all the technical aspects of their product. And they also were in a very competitive market, a very large market, for example, China and Brazil and the UAE. So, you know, they would go to these, the in-market reps would go to their prospective clients and say, yeah, well, we have this great American product and so on. And the guys would say, well, do you really care about us market? Are you able to really function in this market? But once they got the relevant online presence, once they got the localized websites, those reps were able to do a much better job because they were able to go and say, look, we really care and we understand your market. And here's our product. And finally, I really understand it because it's in my language. So this feeling of saying we care enough about your market to actually invest in a localized website for you. That gave a lot of credence to us, especially those big markets, France, Japan, Mexico, China. And it also helped the in-market reps actually understand what was going on. If you have an interest, you're welcome to listen to the video testimonial. Another example I just wanted to bring up to you, again, a US company who was working through distributors. I know a lot of you go through by distributors. This is a company who said, I have lots and lots of little distributors. They make paper cutters, this company. Not high tech, but they have a lot of distributors, different verticals. How to organize those distributors, how to give them all the same resources at the same time, how to make sure they are all selling onto brand. And also how to have some kind of visibility on the end client so that you weren't always having this distributor window between you and your end clients. And so the websites here are built for that. So these are localized websites. They're not big websites, they're highly functional in those local markets. And again, this allowed the company to really change its business model and have a much bigger awareness of its end client and therefore to grow its brand. And in the paper cutting business, there's not a lot of brand awareness. But this is the company that's actually doing brand awareness for that. Again, there's a testimonial on our website on that. For Mississippi in particular, there's these online global program. From our point of view, there's several parts we can do. We can do websites, we can do online marketing, we can do e-commerce functionality in particular. And the online websites can be from one to multiple websites. They can be also customized in terms of, yes, but I need different designs and I need it with a CRM integration, all kinds of things. There are lots of different parameters that you can set and we can discuss with you. And as the MDA pointed out, there's some very, very generous grants that are available for eligible companies. Let me run a quick poll again on that and just say, for the audience today for this Mississippi companies, are you interested in learning more about Mississippi Online Global Programs and these localized websites? Are websites interesting for you? Are you interested in international websites for your international markets, for your exporting? either helping distributors or in-market partners, or for your own brand development in these markets, please let us know, and we'll be very, very happy to get back to you at any time. And I would really thank you very much for the extremely energetic and enthusiastic response on that. I appreciate that. I'm going to go right ahead. I'm going to close that poll now, and I'm going to go right ahead and talk more about a quick overview on e-commerce. Oops, have I closed that poll? Yes. On e-commerce, these are vast topics, by the way, that we're discussing. So, you know, we do have a lot of resources if anyone wants us to drill down more about international e-commerce, but let us know. My dog's gonna bark again, I know it. E-commerce, I want to talk first of all about the main channels for e-commerce. And what does that really mean? You know, the primary channels for brand research at the moment are about you know, YouTube, search engines, and so on. So that's, I think, really interesting to see how many companies are now looking at that. And that's on B2B companies, not just B2C. If I look at the primary research, primary research, 94% of B2B purchases are researched online. So again, e-commerce is not just for the sort of fashion industry or for just the B2C side. It is much larger than that. It includes for B2B side. A point I wanted to bring out as well was just, you know, how big the e-commerce is. These numbers are from 2019. It has grown by up to 20 to 30% over the last year. In the US, e-commerce, B2C e-commerce grew by 30% just that 1 year. So, you know, pretty, you know, shocking numbers. And so far, it doesn't show a lot of sign of slowing down. You can see from just this map, you know, the U.S. at 560 now well over 650 billion, in B2C e-commerce. China, more like, you know, close to 900 billion this year. So these are very huge markets, but there's a lot of them. If companies are looking internationally, they would tend to look either through e-commerce via distributors or on their own platforms or through generalist marketplaces. And very often we find that if you're new to the international e-commerce side, you would very often piggyback one of these big, you know, the Amazons, these what we call generalist marketplaces. That's why I'm going to highlight this slide because, you know, internationally, yes, Amazon is global, but you could actually think of some other companies or marketplaces as well if you're targeting specific regions. Mercado Libre, for example, for Mexico and Latin America is an amazingly strong platform, really worth investigating. If you're aiming for China, Alibaba has a huge suite dedicated for non-Chinese companies. That's worth investigating and looking at. So there's some interesting opportunities if you are looking internationally beyond the generalist marketplace in particular. Again, for the Mississippi companies, there's online global programs. There is an e-commerce enablement part, and this is allowed, you know, this very much targeted towards your needs, your objectives. I'm just some screenshots of some companies here, you know, from Brazil, France, the UK, so on. There's lots of different markets that you know, some of them are easier, some of them are hard. I mean, you know, Brazil, for example, notoriously difficult, but it is worth it once you finally get organized on that. For that. And before I talk about the online marketing side, I'm going to do another poll and ask if anybody is interested in particularly the e-commerce side, and if that's something that you'd like to learn more about, then, you know, let us know, get back to us on that. If you're interested in the e-commerce side and want to have more information, if you're looking for whether it's infographics or white papers or blogs or direct communication, let us know. We're very happy to get back to you on that on the e-commerce side of the time. Right. Again, there's quite a lot of interest in e-commerce as well, and that's interesting for us to know. Thank you very much for those responses. I'm going to close that poll. And now I'm going to turn over excuse me, to online marketing. So international online marketing. I think one of the first things I really wanted to put out there was, excuse me, this notion of an international buyer persona. Now, you'll all have an idea of your buyer persona, especially your domestic buyer persona, because that's your core business. In what way is your international buyer persona different? You know, if they are different, in what ways are they different? Perhaps you could have multiple buyer personas per market. Are your distributors buyer personas in a way? How do they get in touch with you? How do they interact and engage with you? In what ways are their buyer journeys different? This is a screenshot from L'Oreal back when the pandemic was really bad in the States, so like mid last year, and L'Oreal wanted to communicate to their core buyers in the U.S. that they were supporting them, that they were there for them, committed to supporting stylists and salon partners during the COVID-19 crisis. That was in the United States. But if we looked at, for example, what L'Oreal was doing at the same time in Australia, it was quite different, because Australia was, excuse me, Australia was very concerned with climate change and these forest fires that it hit. So the look and feel of the Australian website was quite different. It's still, you could still see that it was L'Oreal, the brand was still the same, the fonts are still the same, but the message was a little bit different for that. And at the same time, if you looked at Brazil, again, a very different message, although the same company. And each time, L'Oreal is focused on its core buyer persona in each market. So in Brazil, for example, they were saying, we don't normally do hand sanitizers, but now at this time, we're doing hand sanitizers, particularly for the favelas. And so, same company, same time period, just tweaking their website to look at their buyer persona. So that's an indication of how you can be cognizant of your local buyer persona in each market. So why do you need an international social media strategy? I said social media strategies are really used for B2B research as well as B2C research. So it's not just for the fashion companies or online B2C companies. They're used for everybody. And online media, social media strategies, for example, there is a way of connecting with your audience when they want to be connected to. So it's when they want, in the way they matter, at the time they want. So all the way, with the way, time, and place that your prospective buyer persona engages with. And the other point about this is this leveling of the playing field, which is something Adrian was saying. Online tools allow you to level the playing field so that you, if you're a small or mid-cap company, can really punch above your weight and get in front of a massive audience. I was looking the other day, I saw that there was a company called, I think, Curl and Snip or something like that, and they do hair products. They are a mom and pop business based in Georgia, and they are at the same level as Christian Dior in terms of front hits. I mean, just because they've managed to get that media right, and this is, after all, one of the best ways of engaging for your distributor as well. I want to give you an example of how online marketing differs in different markets. This is an example of an online media thing that we did for the same company at the same time, using almost the same, obviously localized for Mexico and the UK at the same time. And we were, we were pretty pleased with that 1,200 engagements that we got from the UK, because the UK is a hard market to get engagements. We were pleased with that. And then we looked at Mexico and said, what happened? We got over 20,000 engagements. We got likes and shares and wows, all kinds of things from that. So it was a huge difference in engagement. And that shows you two things about this market. And the Mexican is in Mexico. Mexico is a market that engages strongly. The UK can engage, but perhaps not as much the same performance. What's interesting as well is then to go beyond that and look not just at the engagement, but at the conversion. So in this map, for example, the blue and the red is engagement, and the yellow and the green is conversion. So that's, okay, I like it, but where can I buy it? How do I use it? How much does it cost? That's a conversion indicator. And I don't know if you can see on this chart, it's a bit small, but you remember those numbers, 1,000 for the UK, 20,000 for Mexico, but the conversions are almost the same in terms of the levels. Very, very similar conversion for both the UK and Mexico. So on online marketing side, you would say these are very different markets, but we know that we need that level of engagement to get that level of conversion for Mexico or for the UK. So again, changing your strategy according to different markets. So, there's a lot of different platforms out there. Adrian was saying just before, there's 4.2 billion people on social media. A lot of different platforms, from Facebook to Instagram, from ones like Qzone and vContact, obviously Reddit, Instagram. So there's a lot of different networks for different areas in the market. It's not hard either, even if you're a small mid-cap company, to focus your goals and make sure you have the right goals and focus your resources to get your objectives. We would recommend focusing them on a single platform or the platform that most fits your buyer persona, and then to grow your brands and your business through the different metrics. We've done a lot of webinars and a lot of things on online marketing. If you have an interest, let us know. We can give you more assets about that and show you sort of, online marketing calendars and so on. I've just put down here the sort of 7 steps that we think are the best practices. Knowing your buyer persona and their journey. But for us, it starts with having that localized feel to your websites and that act as a local springboard for anything you do on online marketing internationally. And I guess the last one for us is don't stop. If you can start on online marketing, make sure that you have a good timeline. Take 12 months. You're not going to see a result in the first month. You have to wait a while. You have to think it on, tweak it, figure it out. But take a 12-month view at least. A couple of examples about online marketing. There's lots of them, but for us, online marketing is the fastest, most cost-effective way to engage and directly with your end markets. But that can be from search engine marketing to emailing to SEO, all different kinds of it. Again, there are some grants available for that. So maybe I should just do a quick poll on that as well. Hold on. The last poll, I promise. Last poll about are you interested in learning more about online marketing? Mississippi Online Global Program for online marketing, and if so, let us know and we can circle back to you or send me an email with any resources or there's lots of infographics and things like that we can help you with to get started on. Thank you very, very much for that. It's interesting. There's as much for website localization as for the marketing side. So that's a well-balanced, I saw you voted for both, but that's a very well-balanced, intriguing side that you're both on that, on both of them. So rounding up, and thank you already for some questions that I start to see coming in. We welcome the questions. Please continue popping them in there. I'm going to close that poll. Just sort of summing up a little bit. We want to do sort of, the takeaways and then some Q&A. So for us, the takeaway really for us on this is, why do we feel that it's important that Mississippi exporters get the right online tools? As Adrian pointed out, the world is online. 4.66 billion of us spending 7 hours a day, which means 3 hours a day on social media. I don't know what 2021 and 2022 is going to look like in terms of the new normal, but I think that online tools will not diminish. And for a Mississippi exporter, they're a fabulous way of reaching out, engaging with the world, reaching you to your prospective buyers, engaging with them, talking with them, getting and building the trust that is so needed in the buyer's journey in order for the buyer's journey to end successfully with a sale. So get found, be understood, do business using online tools for us. That's I think the big message from us. The second, obviously, is that these online global programs exist. There's a Mississippi is there to help you with that. We would be delighted to lend any expertise we can about it. The motivations for doing this from companies, we've listed a couple of them on the right-hand side of your screen there. Generate leads and measure and manage online success and so on. All of that is about growing your top line. How do I grow my sales? How do I grow my business? Where do I can reach new markets? Online tools is the way. And then I just wanted to highlight sort of again some of the core people in the MDA to reach out with Luigi and Carol on this webinar, which we're very grateful to. But reach out with them as well, and we look forward to answering any questions and getting back to you and circling back and helping you in any way we can. So I'm going to open the floor now to questions. And one of the very first ones I have, in fact, is for Luigi and Carol. So Luigi and Carol, if I have a couple of that have come in for you. One of the first ones, I don't know if it's Luigi or Carol, but perhaps Luigi. To start this online process, do I call you or IBT Online?
You can call us, and you can call directly IBT Online. You can start the process, it's no problem. What we're doing later on is we will refer you, if you call us, we will refer you to our step grant manager to explain to you the financial reimbursement.
Okay, and Luigi, there's another one as well.
Do you mind if I just add to that one? Sorry. Sorry. Thanks. Yeah, and just as Carol was saying earlier, there's the specific and the broad, right? And for us, we have now with these new opportunities to support your online engagement, we have broad range of support that we can provide through STEP. So in addition to these tactics and these opportunities we're talking about today, feel free to contact us with any other ideas you might have that you see could help you to further your online presence in terms of export, because we have a lot of leeway in helping you do that right now. Thanks.
Actually, there's a couple of others that have come up as well. I don't know if that's for Chris or Luigi or Carol. Is this a service that's going to continue in time? Is it limited to the current situation? I guess current situation is COVID, but is this limited in time?
We haven't been told if it's time limited or not, but from what I'm seeing, it's going to be here for a while. I think this is kind of the new normal for everyone. So I think it's going to be a new process that we're going to keep for the time being.
Thank you, Carol. Another question, which is a little bit similar. Is there a set number of companies that can apply to this? And if so, how are you allocating? Is it a first come, first served basis?
That's a great question. So I don't think there's a certain amount of companies. It's really just once you reach that cap that I kind of mentioned earlier, I think it's 10K and then another 6K per STEP grant. That's kind of the limit. So there's not like how many companies we allow to use these funds. It's just that once you reach the cap, that's kind of where it's limited.
Okay, just while you were saying that, another one came in and said, does that mean I can use this program more than once? I don't know if that means the STEP program, or does it mean you can combine the different grants, perhaps? Or does it mean, can I use the STEP program twice?
Yeah, so this is, I think, a little more specific. I think we have 2 grant cycles ongoing right now. So I think it's actually 10K and 6K for one grant, and then another 10 and 6K for the other grant. But we'll have to refer to our STEP manager for the actual specifics. But I think that's my understanding of it. So.
Okay. There's another one which, are there any markets this does not apply to?
I don't believe so. Not on our end. What about yours, Susanna?
No, I don't think there's a couple of markets we've never done a North Korean website.
yeah, we don't do business with Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea, Russia.
There's a few that are pretty obvious, but
yeah.
Correct.
But otherwise,
pretty open.
Pretty open.
Yeah.
For that. There's a few technical questions. There's one, maybe Adrian, if you could drop in on this one, which is, do you help in the design? And there's 2 questions I have about the design side. The one refers to, if I'm doing my international websites, can you help on the design side of the international website? The other side is, what aspects do you bring to design of all websites?
We sure can. So as part of the Mississippi Online Global Programs, we do offer an option that includes help with design of the localized website. And that's within the packages that we offer for Mississippi. And what we do really in that case is that we work with you to make sure that whatever design that we work with, it adheres to your brand guidelines. If you have a website of reference that you like, if you have whether it's your website or a website that you really like, we create that in WordPress, and then that will be your localized website with help on design. And that design is responsive, it's mobile first, and it's internationally oriented so that it makes sense to the market that you're directing it to.
Right. Sorry, another question that's just come in. How soon can we expect access to grant support? I think this is, for you.
Yeah, I think the process is, it's pretty standard among all of our services for STEP. So you would contact our STEP grant manager, and she would tell you exactly the allocations and how much we reimburse, or the STEP grant reimburses you. So once you have those numbers, you can pay or get a quote from IBT or whomever you're going to use. And whenever you get that, you can see if that matches with the STEP grant, and if that is 10K or whatever the amount it is, or less than that, you pay it out, and then you submit reimbursement to us, and then we will reimburse you through the STEP grant. So typically you pay up front, and then we'll reimburse you after that.
Yeah, and just to add really briefly to that, it's a pretty straightforward process, right? I mean, our application form is only a couple of pages long, and we can work through that with you really quickly.
Thank you, Chris. Another question's come in. How long does this take?
This meaning the
I don't know.
Localization process or the STEP grant process?
Well, I can speak to how long it takes for us. For example, for website development, I'll be brief on that. It takes 3 months for IBT Online to develop 2 international localized websites for business development. So from kickoff to go live, it is a 3-month period, which gives time as well for the STEP program to work, to submit your application to get approval, so that by the time they go live, you get reimbursed.
Right. There's a question about content management systems. We are content management system agnostic. We are not tied to any particular one. However, there are some content management systems that do not work well internationally. WordPress and Shopify have done great things for the last few years in terms of making their content management system really friendly for international sites. So we do a lot in that. So to answer your question, Amika, yes, we can do Shopify and WordPress. We also do, for WooCommerce, we would also do plugins like that. We also work a lot in something called Expression Engine. That's also very good for international websites. There are lots of different CMSs that you can use, but probably the ones we're actually using the most at the moment is Shopify and WordPress. Another question about integrating shipping costs and duties into the e-commerce platforms. And yes, we do that. There's some caveats because it depends on how many SKUs and how complex that can be in which markets. But there are, in today's market, we can find, especially if you've got something on a Shopify or Shopify Plus, you can find a good plugin that integrates the cost directly so that your end, to answer your question, to know that your end client would know the final shipping cost will be. Yes. There's a couple of other questions. They're very specific to the individual company, so I think we're going to circle back directly to you, which have to do about sort of uploading content and stuff like that. But we'll circle back directly on the technical questions that you have, because I am mindful that we all said we'd keep you less than 1 hour, so we're running out of time. I wanted to thank the MDA, Chris, Luigi, Carol, and all the MDA team for their terrific support of Mississippi companies and for joining us today on this webinar and participating in this. It's really, really helpful. I would really encourage Mississippi companies, you've got a really active MDA there. We do a lot in different states. Mississippi, you've got a really active one. Take advantage of it. You've got a great team there. And I also wanted to thank Adrienne for joining me today on this webinar to help out. And Adrienne is someone that you can always contact as well for anything to do with for IBT online and how we can possibly help you. Just get a hold of Adrienne or myself or any of the team. And finally, just wanted to thank all of you guys for taking the time out today to join us. I apologize again for my dog barking. It's part of the theme, and for my hoarse voice. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We really, really enjoyed it. We really look forward to working with you if that's a relevant thing to help you get in the online tools. And we wish you all the best success. Please do answer the survey at the end of this webinar if you have a moment. Otherwise, thank you all so much. Bye-bye, and we hope to see you all in person sooner rather than later, but otherwise online. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Thanks. Bye.